good evening, everyone, and welcome to Penn Hills Indians football here on Unreal Productions. Tonight, live from Andrew Yuha Stadium. It's the Penn Hills Indians in their home opener, non-conference style, hosting the North Hills Indians. With me tonight, not my normal partner, Bill Navari, is off tonight, but it's a face and a voice very familiar to high school football fans. It's Don Rebel, the illustrious leader of Team Wixie. Don, thanks for being here.
Pleasure.
Well, tonight, another tough task for the Penn Hills Indians as they face the North Hills Indians. Decidedly different-looking North Hills team over the past few years, running up a lot of yardage, although the points were still the same, but a lot of yardage on the ground last week did the Indians against Penn Trafford.
Yeah, they're going to score a lot of points, I think, this year because of LeVar Arrington and a better improved supporting cast to go with Arrington. You know, 2 years ago, they had strength everywhere in the line, in the skill positions, and of course they went on to win the state championship. Last year, LeVar Arrington really was out there alone at times, it seemed, and they dipped below 500. But they're back this year, and they're trying to make a statement. I think they made a bit of a statement last week, the impressive win over Penn Trafford. Now they're going to try to follow up with that with a tough road victory against the strong Penn Hills team.
In the opener for Penn Hills last week on the road against Butler, 14-0 shutout win in a game when they didn't particularly look that great, but they had a nice running game. That will change tonight, however, as their top rusher, Dwayne Thompson, will miss most of tonight's game, probably not see hardly any action at all with a knee injury.
Yeah, the knee injury is going to shelf him for tonight. We're not sure as far as the extent afterward, but again, Neil Gordon's thinking is this is a non-conference game, and don't risk any further damage to his knee. So they're going to sit him out, and hopefully he'll be back in the lineup soon. But look for some changes. One of the changes will be tight end Ron Graham will see some playing time in the backfield, and that'll be interesting to see how that pans out.
Well, the one constant for Penn Hills, their big offensive line. Last week at Butler with an equally big offensive line that could match up tonight. A decided advantage, I guess, for Penn Hills with their strength in the interior line.
This is a line that can dominate the game on both sides of the ball. Offensively, they can blow open big holes for whoever is carrying the ball for Penn Hills, and defensively, they're in the backfield half the time before wreaking havoc on opposing teams' quarterbacks or running backs. So I mean, this is a dominating line, offensive and defensive line, and to slow Penn Hills down, you're going to somehow have to try to corral that bunch.
Well, we're all set for action tonight. We're going to tee it up. Penn Hills hosting the North Hills Indians in their second of three non-conference games. A pregame tribute scheduled tonight here at Andrew Yuha Stadium for Penn Hills, former Penn Hills player and coach and graduate Jim Type, who passed away over the summer. And we'll have that for you as the pregame continues. And you're watching Penn Hills Indians football on Unreal Productions.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you join me in offering a round of applause to Mr. and Mrs. Type, our way of saying, Jimmy, you will never be forgotten.
And welcome back to Andrew Yuha Stadium. Bob Workwist along with Don Rebel, and a tribute underway to Jim Type, the former Penn Hills coach, also a Penn Hills graduate, and also played for the Big Red. Graduated in 1987, came back and coached, and he passed away this summer. Penn Hills will honor his memory with the initials JT. And they are honoring Jim Type's parents, and he's a valued member of the coaching staff. He passed away, as I mentioned, this past summer, and this is opening night for the Indians, and they are honoring Jim Type.
Off to an emotional start already.
See Jim Type's parents down on the sideline, and As you may have heard in the background, they are dedicating the entire season to Jim Type.
And this is tough for the kids too, because they not only lost a coach, but a friend, because he was not much older than they are, actually.
And he's obviously steeped in the Penn Hills tradition, playing for the Big Red, coaching for the Big Red, and a graduate of Penn Hills, so he'll be sorely missed.
Now the team, a lot of the seniors gathering around Jimmy's parents.
Sure, Jim Type will be remembered before every game by the players and the coaching staff, and obviously they're dedicating the season. They did a good job, got off to a good start last week with a 14-0 shutout win over Butler. North Hills won the toss, and I believe they've elected to receive. I saw Penn Hills chose to defend the far goal, and I think the return team is heading out for the Indians, so they will get the football first. I misinformed you, I'm sorry. It's now Dave Zakia coming out to kick off, so Penn Hills starts on defense, and they like to do it, obviously, after last week.
Little if no wind at the outset of this one. So Penn Hills will be kicking off. Dave Zakia will tee it up.
Zakia did a nice job last year. He just handled the punting chores for most of the season, and he did a fine job kicking off. As a matter of fact, on one of the Butler kicks, he came down the middle of the field and was set to make the tackle, got his head in there, recovered a fumble.
Be interesting to see how Zakia handles this kickoff. The two starting backs for North Hills are back deep, and Wilkerson and Arrington. Wonder if we'll see a little dribbler, squib kick, if you will.
You can do that. Another way is you can set up your coverage to contain one side of the field and kick it that way, which gives you a chance to obviously use the sideline as an extra defender.
Zakia boops it almost straight up in the air, fielded at the 30-yard line, and Penn Hills quickly down there as Chris Pettigrew tries to get away, and he's returns it up to the 32 before being pushed back. That's where the North Hills Indians will start 1st and 10. So
Ben Crowney in on the tackle for Penn Hills special teams, and first possession of the night for North Hills at their own 33.
They sort of did a mixture of both of those, did they not? Pooch kick. Mike Glazer, the starting quarterback for North Hills, with Arrington and Wilkerson behind him. I formation for North Hills. Pitch goes to Wilkerson, who is dotting the I, and he is run down after no game, may have even lost a yard on the play.
Ron Graham with the initial contact got his hand on the shoulder pad, and he got some help from Damien Germany. So the pitch to Wilkerson goes for a loss of about 2 yards, and a good penetration by Penn Hills on play number 1.
A lot of talent on this Penn Hills defense. I was going to say I'm sort of looking forward to watching linebacker Ron Graham here tonight, but then you look at Gibson and you look at White, and you don't know who to watch. Again, I formation for North Hills. Glazer, hand off Arrington up the middle. Big hole. Arrington has room, and he may go. 40, 35, 30. LeVar Arrington, a 70-yard touchdown run, and the North Hills Indians score on the second play of the game.
Well, you didn't need to see that happen. We talked about LeVar Arrington and his explosiveness. Took the short handoff, broke the initial tackle, and he was gone. Goodbye up the middle. Officially 69 yards on the touchdown run, and LeVar Arrington's 3rd touchdown of the season gives North Hills a 6-0 lead.
Not a happy Neil Gordon on the sidelines. This defense, the pride and joy of Penn Hills, and on the second play, Arrington busts one wide open down over the middle. And North Hills jumps out to a quick lead. The extra points lined up and in by Jim George. The extra point is good. 10:45 remaining first quarter. North Hills 7, Penn Hills nothing.
Yikes.
We talked about the explosiveness, as I said, and there it was. The first play, Penn Hills contains Wilkerson very well. This one not really designed to be a big gainer, but when you have the talent of LeVar Arrington, you can bust it. It basically runs up the middle. Don't always go that way. But you saw his speed. He's a big man for a running back, 6'4" and 220, and he just took off when he got into the secondary, and there was no catching him.
Victor Strader, the deep man, back for Penn Hills on the kickoff by George. Chichilla in Germany also back.
Last week, Penn Hills allowed a total for the Butler goal grenade of only 77 yards rushing in the entire game, including only 8 in the second half. So Arrington almost single-handedly matched that on one play. Kind of a different scenario tonight.
So now the kick straight up, fielded by Jeremy George for Penn Hills. And he brings it up to the 30-yard line, not quite the 30, actually the 29, where he is hit by a mass of North Hills Indians, brought down, and that's where Penn Hills begins their first possession at their own 29.
When we set the offense, and we'll see, Lenny Gilmer obviously in a quarterback, but we'll see if any playing time comes the way of Dwayne Thompson tonight, and it's not going to be starting. It will be Livingston and Victor Strader. Just a two-man backfield for Penn Hills.
Strader dots the I movement in the line before the ball was snapped. And they'll probably push the Big Red back 5, setting up a 1st and 15. And not quite the kind of start in front of the home crowd that the Penn Hills coaching staff was hoping for.
And of course, Penn Hills will not change up much. They like to run the football. They like to punish you on defense and use their size to their advantage. And typical Neil Gordon football, obviously, and they won't deviate much from that, even after the early touchdown.
Livingston Strader. The I formation give to Strader. Second man through. He has a hole. He's over the 35 up to the 40-yard line. And it's good enough for a Penn Hills first down.
And Victor Strader with a nice run. After the penalty, he picks up more than enough. Give him 16 and the initial first down. His longest run of the season. Last week, he was used sparingly in the first half, but ended up the leading ball carrier with 17 carries last week, but didn't get much yardage, only 39. But a nice run there, the second back through, and that'll help the Indians cause a little bit. The first down to the 40-yard line.
Both teams successful running the ball up the gut. Split backs for Penn Hills. Back to pass, and oh my, Gilmer is hit, buried at the 35.
Penn Hills not running the pass, but good pressure from the North Hills Indians. Dave Blouth in on the tackle, and also John Zopper. So they'll lose 4 on that. Gilmer was swarmed under.
Gilmer's short drop after the play fake, but he was hit and hit hard.
Absolutely no chance. It looks like he wasn't going to throw deep. It looked like he wanted to throw a short pass, and he had absolutely no time at all to do that.
Again, split backs behind Gilmer. And one of the Indians jumps off. See if he was pulled off.
It was Dave Blouth, the outside linebacker, the man who was in on that sack, and it's an illegal procedure call. So Blouth wasn't just licking his chops after the initial sack, and Penn Hills again now faced, they had a 1st and 15, and now they're going to be 2nd and about 19.
Neil Gordon tersely tells Len Gilmer what to do on this 2nd and long.
Last week, Penn Hills was mistake-free. They had no turnovers. They weren't penalized at all in the first half. Here we are in the first series. They've run 2 offensive plays. They've also had 2 offensive penalties. So kind of a different start than last week's ball game.
They come out in the eye once again behind Gilmer. Split backs to the right. And handoff up the middle, not much yardage. Second man through, Victor Strader. Had a big gain the first time he touched the ball. Held to a minimal gain, I should say. That time it's going to bring up 3rd and long.
Strader picked up about 1 on that play. And it was the exact same play that gained 16 before. Kind of a little bit of a sloppier exchange, but North Hill shut that hole down that time.
Gilmer back on 3rd and long. Throws and he hits his big tight end Ron Graham. Graham over the 40, 45 into the 47-yard line. Probably be about 3 yards short of a first down. It'll bring up 4th down, and the punting unit comes on for Penn Hills.
Well, a nice pass, Graham, a good receiver, a big man, but he has good hands, and it was a quick zip. Graham started from the wide out position instead of the tight end position, cut it in, took the pass on a slant, got some yardage after the catch, but not enough. Penn Hills falls about 3 yards short of the first down marker, which is right at midfield.
Zakia back to punt for Penn Hills. Clock turning, 7:19 remaining first quarter. 7-0 North Hills, booming punt. Fair catch called for by the North Hills Indians. And they will have the ball. John Getz on the fair catch. They will have the ball at their own 14-yard line, starting their second possession.
I think what you're seeing with Getz back there and also Wilkerson, occasionally on the kick return, is you don't want to rest LeVar Arrington if he's the focal point of your offense. You don't want to take a chance at him getting hurt and having him play the special teams. And he's a dangerous returner, but that's why Getz was back there and he called for the fair catch. And North Hills starts at their own 14-yard line.
Talk about that play Penn Hills just ran on 3rd and long in a moment. Glazer back, fumble, ball on the floor, and North Hills recovers. It was bobbled after the handoff by
Wilkerson.
He recovered his own fumble. Really never got a clean handoff. Never got a clean from Glazer. The pass play to Graham that came up short of the first down. Did it not look like the play the Steelers often run with their 4 wideouts?
Absolutely.
The far man.
Absolutely, it did. And if you watch the Steeler game this past Sunday, they ran it well with a quick slant in and almost effective, but just a little too far for the Indians to go.
Wilkerson again dots the I, gets the ball, and he is hit and driven down around the 18-yard line. Met by Mr. Graham.
And also Donnie Chichilla with a nice tackle. And Chichilla did not play in the opener last week, was out with an injury. I believe it was a pulled muscle of some sort. Nice tackle there, and give him 2, Wilkerson 2. Third about 7 for the North Hills Indians.
I wonder if he's related to Stephanie Chichilla. Played for Bill Lynn's basketball team. Glazer back on 3rd and 6. Give to Arrington on the reverse. He is hit, he fumbles the ball. Penn Hills recovers. Indians take it down inside the 5-yard line. DeMond Gibson picked up the loose ball, took it down to the 4. Who delivered the big blow, Bob? Did
Ronnie
you see?
Graham. He's the one who hit LeVar Arrington on the cross buck, and big DeMond Gibson picked it up, and Glazer was the only man to stop him, and he hog-tied him and finally brought him down at the 4.
Gibson carried Glazer for about 5 yards, but a touchdown-saving tackle. Now Penn Hills can even it up. First and goal at the 4. Full house backfield. Ron Graham is in the backfield. Give to Graham. Following his 2 blockers, gets it down to the 2-yard line. Of your goal line defenses, this looks like Penn Hills' goal line offense.
Graham can do the job blocking-wise.
Graham, George, and Livingston.
Also Victor Strader.
Yeah, Strader. George lined up as a tight end.
And Penn Hills goes with no wideouts in their tight goal lines offense.
Give is to Graham over the left side into the end zone. Touchdown. Playing the role of the refrigerator, Ron Graham. 2-yard touchdown run. Pulls Penn Hills to within 1.
And his first carry is a memorable one. Usually playing the tight end, but he's a good enough athlete where he can do the job, and on the goal line situation, he caused the fumble. Gibson picked it up, but Graham gets the end result, and it takes Penn Hills 2 plays to answer back.
On a
Dave's-
4-yard touchdown drive. Excuse me, Don.
It's all right. Dave Zakia in for the extra point to try to tie it. Strader to hold. Snap good, hold good, kick up, and it is good. Zakia's extra point evens things up for 38 remaining. First quarter, it is now Penn Hills 7, North Hills 7. So Graham forces the fumble on this hit on LeVar Arrington, and then finishes it off with a 2-yard touchdown run. And he's only a junior.
And a new wrinkle for Ronnie Graham in the backfield. We mentioned the knee injury to Dwayne Thompson. Not expected to see maybe any playing time tonight. But Penn Hills does the job.
A lethal weapon because he's not only big, Bob, but he does have good speed.
When you look at the size of LeVar Arrington, 6'4" and 220. Ron Graham goes about 6'4" and about 240. So aside from maybe 15 or 20 extra pounds, they are the same size, almost stature-wise. And Graham, I mentioned, is a good enough athlete to do it. And only a junior, but he's considered one of the top linebacking prospects right now in the WPIAL. So he's a talent all around, and he helps out in this situation. And Penn Hills quickly ties the game up after the fumble.
There are a lot of great juniors in the WPIAL too. Scouts will be foaming at the mouth going into next season.
You talk about Arrington and Wilkerson here. And when we get into the Quad East play, Del Rico Fletcher, the defensive back wide receiver for Woodland Hills, also a top player in the WPIAL.
The kick bounces into the hands of North Hills' John Getz. Getz tries to go right side, no room there, hauled down by a pack of Big Red Indians at the 25-yard line. So that's where North Hills begins possession number 3.
Well, both teams not going to pass the ball very much tonight. Jack McCurry likes the pass, but he said we don't have a quarterback with a strong arm, so they're going to go away from the pass. Penn Hills, obviously, they really never like the pass, although they were successful on their first attempt this game. But when you have a running back like Arrington, you're going to use him, and Penn Hills will key on that, and obviously that's one of the reasons they caused the fumble in the last series.
Mike Glazer under center again, I formation. Behind him, Arrington and Wilkerson dots the I. Give the second man through. Wilkerson over the left side. Found a little daylight, quickly closed. Graham and Gibson. 2 of the Indians throwing them back.
We'll give Wilkerson a gain of 4. Also got some help from Livingston and Corey Connors, who was unsure if he would be a starter, but he started last week and played well, and that's carried over. He did a nice job last week against Butler, and continuing to do the job there you see him on your screen, number 69.
Indeed, the king of stats, Bob Ork, was correct in the 4-yard call, 2nd and 6 at their own 30-yard line. 3.5 minutes to go first quarter. We're tied at 7. Battle of them Dare Hills, Penn Hills and North Hills. Glazer back, rolling right now, in trouble, hit, knocked on. Mon Gibson.
Damien Germany also would help. It was the sack obviously is made by DeMond Gibson just punishing his offensive lineman. He was in there too quick, disrupted everything, and Glazer had to roll out, and then Germany, who came from his defensive back position, read that he wasn't going to be able to throw, came up on a nice support, and he'll get credit for the tackle, but it was Gibson just blowing through the North Hills offensive line that caused that sack.
Obvious from the get-go when Glazer went back. He was looking to run. 3rd and 12. And Gibson says, hello, how do you do, to Mike Glazer as he trots into the North Hills backfield before the ball was snapped. And it will be offside on Penn Hills. So that'll shorten the deed for North Hills on 3rd down. Instead of 3rd and long, it's still going to be long. 3rd and 7.
They could change up their play call, though. How'd you like to be Mike Glazer, seeing all 6'4" and 315 pounds at DeMond Gibson shooting through that line a little bit early. That's 2 plays in a row he would have saw big DeMond.
I formation, man in motion, and the give. Arrington was the man in motion, and he was flattened almost immediately. And again, DeMond Gibson, this time he kept it legal and the hit in the backfield, and North Hills will have to punt. Said Arrington, it was Pettigrew who was in motion and took the ball.
And DeMond Gibson, that's actually 2 plays in a row on the offsides, is just destroying the center for North Hills, Steve Kaufman, who is not that small at 6'3" and 205, but DeMond Gibson is just eating him alive, and he's going to need some help to try to block big DeMond.
Punt short and wobbly and shanked badly. Out of bounds over the North Hills bench, so the Penn Hills Indians will have great field position. They're marking it off. Penn Hills will start at the North Hills 35-yard line.
7-yard punt. That's not too good. Good for Penn Hills.
Jim George on the shank. I think either one of us could at least get it 7 yards. Split backs this time. And the whistle blows. Minute 37 remaining in the quarter.
North Hills Indians clapping, so maybe we'll see if it goes against Penn Hills. Dead ball, and again, a false start.
Yeah, they looked confused a little bit, the offensive line. I know Gibson was yelling over to Neil Gordon about something.
And B.J. DiNatalia was asking why. This is the 3rd illegal procedure penalty against the Penn Hills Indians. And now the Indians will...
Again, they look a little confused offensively. They might have to call a timeout here. Unless there's...
Well, the penalties against Penn Hills, but the North Hills coaching staff is the one they are out there jawing with the officials.
So there was a timeout called. Minute 37 remaining. LeVar Arrington, he had officially a 69-yard run, Robert?
That's correct.
69-yard touchdown run on the second play from scrimmage. Put North Hills up 7-0, but a turnover, a LeVar Arrington fumble caused by Ron Graham, picked up by DeMond Gibson, taken to the North Hills 4-yard line. 2 plays later, Ron Graham, playing tailback, scooted over from on the left side, PAT good, and we are tied at 7. I would say with the penalties and such, I don't think Neil Gordon can be too pleased with the way this first quarter has gone.
I'm sure now the score is 7-7, that'll take a little bit of the edge off that, but I agree with you. Nice play.
First man through, and he is gone. Victor Strader, bursting up the middle, nearly untouched for the last 30 yards, and the Penn Hills Indians, perhaps now Neil Gordon is smiling, they take the lead.
That took them all 9 seconds to punch it in a 40-yard touchdown run by Victor Strader.
Got the ball in the handoff from Gilmer, burst through the right side, big hole, and like I said, after the initial squeeze through the line, he was gone. Lots of green ahead of him.
2 touchdowns in a 3-minute and 10-second span for the Penn Hills Big Red Indians.
Strader the hold, Zakia's kick, perfect through the uprights. Well, North Hills was involved in a high-scoring game last week. Perhaps they're going to be involved in another one this week. A minute 28 remaining, first quarter. Penn Hills 14, North Hills 7. A first quarter dominated by big plays.
Indeed, we have a 69-yard touchdown run, a 40-yard touchdown run for Victor Strader, 69-yarder courtesy of LeVar Arrington, and the big fumble and return to the 4-yard line by DeMond Gibson, who is just exerting himself the last 2 series defensively for the Indians. He is just absolutely eating up the offensive center for North Hills. And Penn Hills, who kind of struggled offensively last week, getting 14 points through 3 quarters, a touchdown in the second and third quarters, matched that total, and we still got a minute 28 left here in the first quarter tonight.
I would think Jack McCurry would hope that this continues to be a game of big plays, because it's going to be really hard for North Hills, now that they are down, to grind out scoring drives, long scoring drives against this rugged, top-notch Penn Hills defense. Zakia has it on the tee. $1:28 remaining here in the first quarter. Again, Arrington back deep, and he popped it straight up in the air, and the ball was loose, and flags are down, and that might be interference. On Penn Hills, Zakia just popped it straight up in the air.
Ball was
One of the North Hills Indians went to field, and he got crunched.
It was number 68, and I think North Hills, that's Bob Patzalivas. I think he recovered it anyway, but even though he is a lineman and going to field the ball, he has to be given a clean shot, and he was drilled, and that's why the ball is loose. So if it's going to be interference, it'll probably be 15 yards from that spot. And,
well, it's obvious that Zakia is not going to be blasting that ball with Wilkerson and Arrington.
The clock hasn't stopped. 1:28 on the kickoff, and it continues. The clock is still running, so that play didn't take longer than that. I'm sure it'll be getting back up to about 1:20. It's an unsportsmanlike call.
And
it is declined. It is declined. They would have to
redo it.
Redo it all. So North Hills will take the ball since they recovered at their own 45. So they get excellent field position after the shank by Dave Zakia.
Well, now it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see if any of the officials discover the fact that nearly a minute went off the clock. They ought to mic these refs, don't you think?
Absolutely. It would help our job, I'll tell you that.
Again, Arrington and Wilkerson behind quarterback Mike Glazer. I formation for North Hills. In motion is Wilkerson. Pitch to Arrington, left side. He is hit almost immediately and brought down. In the backfield, Jeremy George for Penn Hills. Now Penn Hills comes up saying they have the ball. Jeremy George comes out of the pack with it. The officials say no. Arrington was down, and LeVar Arrington a little slow in getting up on the play.
And he got hammered, and a nice job by Jeremy George to come in and shake off the block. He's on the end, and he got past Ryan Rebels, no relation to you.
Well.
And Rob Hitchcock over there tackling. He got the initial stop, sort of horse-collared Arrington by the shirt.
Either he's no relation, or my 2-year-old is doing a heck of a job out there.
Official timeout. I think they noticed that the clock maybe was the difference. But George did the play. He did the excellent job there to get the initial penetration.
Yeah, he got back there almost as soon as Arrington got the ball. Sort of slowed him down, held him up, and then about 4 or 5 other Indians jumped on Arrington. And the horn sounds, and I guess they will not put any additional time on the clock. About 45, 50 seconds was lost there after the penalty on the kickoff. Good quarter about to get underway. North Hills now in their traveling white with the red pants will be going left to right. They've pretty much gone with the I formation for most of this game, with Jason Wilkerson dotting the I. Now movement in the North Hills backfield.
Movement everywhere. It looked like 82 on the end move for North Hills.
Tom Martin in the backfield now with Jason Wilkerson. Wilkerson still dotting the I. Martin has replaced LeVar Arrington in the lineup, who, as I mentioned, on that loss right before the last play of the first quarter, walking a little gingerly.
Brad Schaefer, who is a tight end, is caught for the procedure for North Hills, and a little jumping on the Penn Hill side, but the offensive can't move. Schaefer caught for the penalty.
Again, Martin and Wilkerson in the backfield. Pitch to Wilkerson coming right side. Martin tries to get a block, nothing doing. Wilkerson will lose yardage. Damien Germany was there.
And also Jeremy George, who's played a spectacular first quarter here and a half a minute here in the second quarter. He's done the job very well from his linebacking position on defense.
The public address announcer here at Andrew J. Uhas Stadium, Don Ireland, informs us it'll be 3rd and 20 yards. Long way to go for North Hills. Misdirection play, falling down after the pitch is Wilkerson.
He'll lose 4, but we have a flag.
And a flag is down almost immediately as soon as Wilkerson hit the turf.
Is it a penalty for him to get up and run again? I don't think so. I don't know if he was hit, but
yeah,
he
really
got back up.
The flag went flying before there was any contact.
So
It'll be interesting to see what this is.
If they call it or if they decide to pick the flag up. Personal foul clipping against North Hills.
I think that might have been called against Brad Schaefer.
I don't think they'll decline that. That's a smart move after even a loss of 3.
Oh yeah, 4th and a mile. So North Hills will be forced to punt. Jim George.
Chichilla and Strader back deep for the Indians.
See if he can better his 7-yard punt from last time, and he does. Punt comes to Strader at the 33, drops it, picks it up. Strader has the left sideline to the 40. Spin move, nice move up to the 42 and knocked down out of bounds. Good job by Victor Strader. He had trouble handling it at first, but got a return of 10 yards. The last 3, all on his own.
And bucked his way, as you said, with that spin move off that tackle when Penn Hills special teams. Last year they had a lot of big plays. This year, no big plays so far in the first game, but Victor Strader very capable of breaking the long one. Penn Hills again with excellent field position at their own 43.
One man lined up behind Len Gilmer. And they give it to, is that Thompson in there?
Garrett Livingston.
No, Garrett Livingston, sorry. Saw it too, thought it might have been Thompson in there. If you're just joining us, Dwayne Thompson went out for the coin toss, and that might be the extent of his action tonight. The Penn Hills running back with a bruised knee. And this, of course, being a non-conference game, Neil Gordon doesn't want to take any chances. The extent of the injury will, I guess, be known later in the week. You want to win these games, but you don't want to risk the health of your key players before your first conference game, which will be in 2 weeks for Penn Hills. Laser backs. Throws a rifle of a pass right in the hands of Damien Germany, but he could not hold on inside North Hills territory at the 48.
Gilmer does have a strong arm, even though Penn Hills will not look to pass. The pass was a little bit high, but Germany might have been able to come down with it, unable to though, and it'll be a 3rd about 7. Just a little bit too tall, but again, Penn Hills with a quick pass, not looking deep downfield, but a quick slant by Germany from his flanker position.
3rd and 7 in the backfield, Ron Graham, along with Victor Strader for Penn Hills. Gilmer gives the big Ron Graham, barrels into North Hills territory over the 45, down close to the 43-yard line. That's a 1st and 10.
Pickup of 11 for big Ronnie Graham. You saw his power right there. He bowled his way after he got through the initial charge and just bowled his way for an extra 5 or 6 yards. Penn Hills needed 7. Graham comes up with 11. That's their 3rd first down.
Again, Graham stays in the backfield with Strader, a new weapon perhaps being unleashed on Quad A forces. It's Strader, the 2nd man through, dives over the left side behind Graham for about 3 yards.
You're saying you called him the type of refrigerator play because he's technically with a tight end. He's an offensive lineman, but I'm sure he's in much better physical shape than William was.
I'm sure of that.
Of course, almost everyone's in much better physical shape than the Fridge.
And I think Graham will really prove it. I mean, Fridge was more of a gimmick close to the goal line. Here, North Hills has the ball, or Penn Hills has the ball in the middle of the field. They have Graham in the backfield again. Hand off to Graham up the middle. Barrels through 4 North Hills tackles as the Indians dragging. as he brings the ball close to the 35-yard line, and it'll be third and they call it 2.
John Zopper was the one with initial contact, and he could do nothing but just have Graham slip through his arms. It took 4 North Hills Indians to bring him down. And obviously, Ronnie Graham showing his strength, and you might have called it a possibly new weapon here unleashed for the Big Red.
Full house backfield with Graham at the top. Hand off to Strader. And he will get the first down to the 32-yard line. Nearing the 8-minute mark remaining first half. Penn Hills driving, they lead 14-7.
Don, how about Ronnie Graham? Dot in the eye.
I like it. It has a chance.
And a good decoy there. They handed off to the first man through. It's Victor Strader. He had a nice 4-yard gain, and the drive continues.
Wide right, Don Chichilla. Strader, pitch, or gets the pitch from Gilmer, gets outside around the 30, over the 30, down to the 26-yard line. Good fake by Gilmer to Graham. He rolled right as soon as he was hit, pitched it to Strader.
As
Good job running the option, yeah.
As he was hit, as a matter of fact, he was wrapped up, and before he went to the ground, he had enough presence of mind to get that pitch to Strader, and a nice stiff arm enabled Victor to get around the corner, and he was driven out of bounds by Arrington, but not before a gain of 5.
Tom Osborne would be happy on that play. Coach in Nebraska, 27-yard line, 2nd and 8. Give to Strader, has room on the left side, 25-20, 15 down to the 10-yard line, caught by LeVar Arrington. And the depth of Penn Hills is showing itself here this evening.
An impressive drive, and we'll give them 17 on the carry, and Victor Strader up close to the 100-yard mark right here in the first half, and if not for the speed of LeVar Arrington, he may have broke that for 10 more yards and got into the end zone. We're going to call it, it's just outside the 10, so if you give him the 11, Penn Hills can still pick up a first down inside the 1.
Graham now helping Germany. Give to Graham. He has room and he's in. Ron Graham, left side, had plenty of room, did the rest on his own once he got into the defensive secondary on the handoff from Gilmer. And the Penn Hills Indians threatening to blow it open. They lead 20-7.
Third consecutive offensive series for Penn Hills, third consecutive scoring drive, and it's 20-7, as you said. And this play a little different than the other ones, a 2-yard drive, a 1-yard drive. This one went 9 plays, and again capped off by 11-yard touchdown run from Ron Graham.
And a little diversification on the drive, too. As diverse as you'll see from Penn Hills, I guess you could say. Dave Zakayo on the extra point. And, whoa, it's wide right. Didn't get all of that. The duck sails wide. 6:37 remaining, second quarter. Penn Hills 20 and North Hills 7. And I would guess a very important drive coming up for North Hills.
Well-deserved round of applause by the Penn Hills faithful, and indeed, after that 69-yard touchdown run, North Hills has done absolutely nothing on offense, and credit to Penn Hills defense with some nice plays, but they've been pretty much quaggled. And Penn Hills, after their initial drive, which fell short by a couple yards of picking up the first down, they've done 3 consecutive drives and 3 consecutive scores.
That was beautiful. The drive and the dissertation.
Lakia will do the kicking off, and that's the only bad thing, obviously missing the extra point, but that's 20 unanswered points now for Penn Hills.
Martin and Wilkerson back deep. Again, Arrington watches this from the North Hills sidelines as Zakia gets ready. Now with Arrington not back there, let's see if Zakia decides to blast this one.
Oh, his last kick was a disaster.
Oh, another squib kick fielded by North Hills. Number 42, Ryan Rebholz. Rebholz carries it over the 50 into Penn Hills territory at the 49-yard line. Did a nice job fielding that ball, because once that ball starts bouncing off the tee, it takes some it can take some funny bounces, have a lot of funny spins to it, but Rebholz did a nice job. North Hills quickly lines up.
And no Arrington.
Split backfield behind Glazer. And the give is to Martin. Gets to the 43-yard line. Hurry up offense again for North Hills. Martin and Wilkerson, split backs. Behind Mike Glazer. Glazer gives right up the middle to Jason Wilkerson. He runs into a slew of Penn Hills Indians. In on the tackle, among others, was B.J. DiNatale.
So do you think the emergence of Wilkerson in his first game as a running back is maybe a factor that Arrington's not in? He may not be hurt that bad, but I know Wilkerson can get the job done. So why tempt it?
Pitch to Martin left side, and he is hit and corralled by Penn Hills' Corey Connors. As he tried to get around the left side, he will be short of a first down. Again, the hurry-up offense. It's now going to be 4th and 3, and Jack McCurry's squad will go for it. Under center is Glazer. Glazer, quarterback sneak. He goes over the 40. Now a late flag comes in. Penn Hills comes out of the pack with the ball. It was Mike White, but the play is dead. It's close to a first down, but let's check the penalty.
Personal foul face mask, and that'll nullify the.
I'll give him a first down, huh?
That will. It will actually. Could result in 2 first downs if you think about it.
Well, yeah.
The initial run and the penalty.
And again, North Hills, they're waiting for the refs to start the clock. They're ready to go. The ball all the way down to the 24-yard line of Penn Hills. Having a little bit of success with the hurry-up offense. Glazer pitch to Martin. Martin trying to follow the blocks right side. Not much of a gain, if any. In on the tackle for Penn Hills, Garrett Livingston.
And also Ronnie Graham, who is extremely active on both sides of the football tonight.
Mike Glazer. This puts a lot of pressure on the quarterback, the hurry-up offense. Glazer rolls left. The left-hander fires a pass to Martin. Martin over the 25, down to the 23-yard line. Graham and Damian Germany there for the tackle.
Also, Corey Connors chasing him down.
3rd and 8. This takes away pivotal time and information away from Bob Orkins. This hurry-up offense.
And the fans cheer.
Glazer back to pass again. The southpaw turns, fires, and it's off the hands of his intended receiver, Brad Schaefer, the tight end. And it'll bring up 4th and 8.
And they continue in the hurry-up. So Glazer is the southpaw, as you said. And
newfound respect for Mike Glazer.
Left-handed people aren't in their right mind.
Glazer hands off. Wilkerson up the middle. We almost lost the ball. Was pinning the ball to his back as he crossed the 15-yard line and is close to a first down. He was hit as he went through the line of scrimmage and had the ball spun around, was pinning it to his back. How he held on, I'll never know.
Be very close.
Tremendous play by Jason Wilkerson.
It's good presence of mind, because you're thinking about several things, getting the first down and avoiding some Penn Hills Indians, and he was able to keep the football.
And he got the first down, and he kept going, too. That's was really impressive. He was holding the ball pinned to his back, and still had the presence of mind to keep on trucking.
1st and 10 at the 14 now for North Hills. 3:50 on the turning clock here left in the 2nd quarter.
North Hills trailing 20-7. Glazer back to pass, has time, sets up, throws over the middle, and it hits off the referee's leg. He was trying to get the ball to number 5, Bob Hepp.
Do I credit him with the back judge with a pass defense on that play?
Yes. That pass route was not Hepp by Bob. Glazer, that time for the first time since he's been passing the ball, had time. Give to Wilkerson again, off over the middle, and he is crushed. Graham blasted him after Gibson held him up.
Graham can do the job on both sides of the ball. When you have someone as big as DeMond Gibson holding you up, you're going to be kind of left wide open for big pops like that.
You know, defensive players love that situation. 3rd and 9. Little pop pass incomplete. No time at all for Mike Glazer as he was trying to hit Wilkerson out of the backfield.
Dean Italian, Devin Murrell. Or Murrell. They did the job there. They got in there quick.
Excuse me, Bob. Timeout called Penn Hills. 3:15 remaining. This will give them a breather after North Hills starting at the Penn Hills 49. The hurry-up offense has been clicking. I was about to say North Hills has done a marvelous job on this drive on 4th downs.
This will be their 12th play, and they bring out their field goal unit.
The Penn Hills bench.
Mike George, the kicker.
All standing on the sideline, with the exception of Eric Longo.
It's a key for them to try and get some points here for North Hills. It is Jim George, the kicker. Where he set the tee down will be at the 20-yard line, so a 30-yard attempt, and he is lined up at the left hash mark.
With soccer booming in Western Pennsylvania, we have seen the emergence of some pretty good place kickers in recent years in the WPIAL. And a few years ago, this would never have been thought of, a 30-yard field goal, but indeed, Jim George will give it a shot. Right on the 30. Right on the 20. Bad snap. It was dropped by Matt O'Keefe. And he tried to pick it up and run, but he was buried. Damian Germany was there to make sure that O'Keefe could do nothing. And we will never know if George was able to bang it through.
Germany and Murrell again.
So now Neil Gordon's offensive unit has over 3 minutes remaining. See if they can put more points on the board here at half, or before the half, leading 20-7. I formation now behind quarterback Len Gilmer. Second man through, it is Victor Strader. Left side looked like he had some room originally, but that quickly ended. LeVar Arrington brings him down.
I'm sure Neil's dour mood would have to change now. And
yes.
He'd be happy to go in with a 20-7 lead at the half.
Clock still turning with 2 1/4 remaining here, second quarter. And Penn Hills will probably just try to run this out unless they get a big play here. Len Gilmer surveys the defense, split backs behind him. Hands off to, I believe that was Garrett Livingston over the right side.
Well, Gilmer kept the ball and was crashed to the ground.
Now Livingston would have picked up some yardage on that play, but
and Gilmer goes for negative 3. Heath Lewis with the big hit, kind of reminiscent of the hit on Mike Tomczak. Not as nasty though.
yes, I was going to say I don't think anything will come close as that. 3rd and 11, minute 39 remaining. Gilmer hands first man through for a couple. Spinning underneath the pack was Victor Strader.
North Hills will take a timeout.
Tom Shocknacy and LeVar Arrington on the tackle. So minute 29 remaining. Second quarter, North Hills stops the clock, knowing that Penn Hills will likely punt the ball here. And now with the hurry-up offense, North Hills might be able, although they have used, they got two timeouts left.
They have one.
One timeout left. They might be able to get down in perhaps field goal position again.
But their passing game has not looked that short. One of four
No.
for 2 yards, unless you can get a big play from one of your running backs.
No, I mean,
Obviously,
Glacier.
they might set up for the punt block here in Zakia.
Glacier's really only had time to throw once, and he badly overthrew his receiver on that play. Other than that, he has had Penn Hills Indians in your face.
Getz will be the deep man. Arrington is about 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. He's going to try to rush late. There he comes.
It's like a car passing us on our way here. Trying to time it. Punt is off. A good
kick.
one. Getz calls for the fair catch at his own 43-yard line. Excellent punt by Dave Zakia. Special teams, so important. A lot of people tend to overlook them when they're talking about teams, especially on the high school level. They like to talk defense, talk a little offense, but how many games have we seen over the years, special teams playing key roles?
Not only an excellent pump, but an excellent job of blocking, picking up the rushers, and Zakia had a nice time and a beautiful kick.
All right, Glazer goes again with the no huddle, and again it's Martin and Wilkerson behind him. Glazer back to pass, throws left side. It is complete to the 47-yard line to number 42, Ryan Rebholz. Minimal gain of about 5, 2nd and 5. Clock turning as we near the 1-minute mark remaining here in the first half. Glazer, handoff Martin, hit immediately, spins away and dives for maybe 1. He was hit almost immediately by GIBSON, spun off, and Mike White ends up with the tackle. 3rd and 5 now for North Hills. Again, Glazer under center. Back to pass. Glazer wants to go deep, and he's going to underthrow it badly, and it is picked off by Victor Strader. Strader down the left side, 40. Victor Strader makes a move, going to the right side, 45, midfield, 45, coming back to the left side. Victor Strader knocked off his feet at the 33-yard line on a marvelous return with 16 seconds remaining in the half.
So that sets up an interesting possibility for Penn Hills. Victor Strader with an excellent individual effort, returning that ball about 47 yards. 42 on the return. Penn Hills with 1 timeout, but they're going to maybe just take 1 play as the clock starts and shoot for the end zone.
They better get that play off quick.
They got 5 wideouts, no one in the backfield.
I'm not sure they know that the clock has started. Yeah, they do get it off in time. Ball popped up in the air. It's going to be rolled an incomplete pass as Gilmer was hit while trying to get off a Hail Mary. An exciting end to an exciting first half. End of 2 quarters. The score here from Andrew J. Uhas, Penn Hills 20. And North Hills 7.
The back performance of Memorial, New York, with trumpet soloist Jessica Reynolds. Immediately following Living the Day rhythmic melody of On Broadway, the trumpet soloist will be Guido DeSalvo. And now, please welcome to the field, the Penn Hills High School Marching Band.
back at Andrew J. Uhas Stadium. Both North Hills, Penn Hills back on the field, getting ready for the second half. The score at the half, Penn Hills 20 unanswered points. They lead 20-7. First half stats, the stats guru, Bob Orquist.
Well, Dwayne Thompson, their leading rusher after week 1, not playing today because of a sore knee. And Penn Hills picked it up. 17 rushes for 116 yards as a team. 9 carries, 90 yards for Victor Strader, and he has a 40-yard touchdown run. And the new weapon, Ronnie Graham out of the backfield, touches the ball 4 times, 28 yards, 7 yards a pop. He has 2 touchdowns via the ground. For North Hills, LeVar Arrington with the big 69-yard touchdown run, but he finished with 3 carries and 65 yards, so he went backwards after that. And you factor in the 69-yard run, Penn Hills offensively in the first half, or North Hills, gained 68 total yards. So a net negative 1 yard after that second play from scrimmage for the North Hills Indians.
In the last 2 drives, the last 2 times North Hills had the ball, they went to a hurry-up offense without LeVar Arrington in the backfield.
Had some success on that one drive they did.
Yeah, he was, looked like he might have injured a leg, although he did see some playing time, mostly on defense in the second quarter, but that'll be interesting to see what Jack McCurry does with his star back. Perhaps only a bruise will, again, hold you out of a game like this because it is a non-conference contest.
Now I'm going to put you, Donnie, on the spot. As Penn Hills will receive in the second half. You're a college coach, a college recruiter. You can't really see LeVar Arrington playing running back in college, can you?
No, and I think
that's 6'4", 220, and he's probably going to grow.
He still has another year to grow. He will probably play linebacker. There's been some talk about maybe tight end, but he'll probably be a legitimate linebacker, Division I college linebacker by the time he says goodbye to North Hills. That wasn't that difficult. I was expecting something hard.
I'm sorry. Did I have a tough question for you?
There you look at Don Chichillo back to receive the kickoff, waiting for mates. Victor Strader.
It'll be George in Germany also. Yeah. The G&G boys.
DAMION, Germany. That's a great football name, isn't it?
Big interception last week. Butler had a drive going on, and they tried a quick pass at about the 6-yard line. He had blanket coverage, just turned around at the right time, and got the football in his breadbasket. And as I mentioned, he did fight a little bit of a leg cramp problem last week.
Sean Dean to boot. The second half is underway, and he got most of it. Comes down to Victor Strader. Strader has some room, finds hole, bounces off a tackle at the 30, up to the 34-yard line. Victor Strader continues his marvelous night.
26 yards in the return for Victor Strader. And we mentioned 90 yards on 9 carries, give him 26 there, and he also had about a 42-yard interception return, so he's piled up the yardage.
Len Gilmer huddles his Penn Hills Indians as they move left to right to begin the third quarter. I formation. Penn Hills comes out in. Livingston and Strader. Strader, second man through, has a hole. Good block by Livingston. He gets up over the 40-yard line. It'll be second and call it 4.
And you mentioned Hoggy Livingston. He is 6'1", 206 as the senior. Obviously a leader in the backfield, and he can run the ball, but he is a devastating blocker, and every good runner needs a good blocking back, and Garrett Livingston does the job effectively for the Indians.
Split backs now behind Gilmer on 2nd and 4. Give to Strader. Second man through. He breaks the tackle and almost broke it all. Tackled at the last moment by John Getz at the North Hills 45. Good fake. First man through was Ron Graham. Strader got the ball right side. Broke it and almost broke it all the way.
11 carries and 111 on the evening now for Victor Strader. First Indian running back, Penn Hills Indian running back to go over the century mark in yardage.
And the way he's running, he could shoot for 200. Give to the second man. It's Ron Graham. Bobbled the ball on the handoff, but regained possession and put about 3 yards in the board, 2nd and 7.
A nice job to regain his composure. You mentioned, obviously it's new to him running in the back. Obviously he got some reps in practice, but nothing like a game situation. And this is the first time we've seen him actually in a game come out of the backfield, and it's got to be a new situation. But for a big man, he has good hands because he catches the ball very well from the tight end position.
Just imagine him running the ball when he was playing midget ball. Graham again, the second man through again. It looked like a little trouble in the handoff. Goes to the 40-yard line, and it'll be third, call it 6. Saw Bill Lynn before the game, the Penn Hills coaching staff in those nifty coaching jerseys. Have to try to get me one of those. Third and 6, 40-yard line of North Hills for Penn Hills, their initial drive of the second half. Quick pass off the hands of number 33, Jeremy George. Well, Gilmer didn't let any, he took 1.5 steps back, let fly. George could not hold on. It'll bring up a 4th down.
Again, a quick slant and a quick pass by Penn Hills, and this time, again, a little bit tall, but George unable to come down with it, and he would have been right at the first down marker.
It's been a nice evening so far for Dave Zakia, except for a missed extra point. Done a good job on extra points and also on punts. Hits this one high to the right side. It's going to be out of bounds. Let's see where they mark it. 20, 24. So North Hills will start at their own 24-yard line. Zakia high and probably more of an angle than he would have liked on that kick.
Absolutely, trying to angle it out, and it did end up out of bounds at around the 10, but it went over the line before it hit the ground at the 24-yard line, according to the official, and I'm sure definitely not the angle he wanted. Excellent hang time. He could have just booted that down the middle of the field, and had it was George who was down there on the coverage, was the only man the North Hills receiver had vacated.
Always wondered how they marked those. Do you know how they marked those? Arrington back in the backfield. More on that exciting topic in a moment. Arrington first man through to the 28, gain of 3, so he is back in the game offensively.
They marked him with a V.
And Arrington doing a little pushing as he tries to get up with the Red Indians, or the Big Reds, Jeremy George.
The feisty Jeremy George. How do they mark?
They line it up. The official behind the punter stands where the ball was kicked, and the official watches where it goes out of bounds and lines up with the other official. If I had one of those Stratus things,
Telestrator,
I could do some nifty drawings. Back to pass, Glazer rolling right, throws and completes it. Ball is fumbled. The pass was completed to Arrington.
And Rebholz falls on that fumble.
That's the second time Arrington has taken a hit and put the ball on the turf. But again, Rebholz, Johnny on the spot. Ryan Rebholz recovers at the 31-yard line, but it'll be now third and call it 3.5. The second completion for Glazer, Bob?
That's number 3. He was 2 of 6 in the first half, but for only 7 yards, and did throw the interception as the second quarter wound down.
I lost my halftime stat sheet. I apologize. Third and 7. And in motion, give, and it's a big hole in the right side for Wilkerson, and he will get the North Hills first down. They sent Rebholz in motion, and Wilkerson followed Rebholz off the right side.
Well, I'm telling you what, we talked about the offensive line play and how GIBSON had disrupted it early. Give credit to Pat Salivas, the right guard for North Hills. Graham timed his blitz beautifully and was that close to getting into the backfield to disrupt it, but Pat Salivas came over, picked Graham off, and it works for a 7-yard gain and the first down, the initial first down of the second half for North Hills.
7.5 to go, third quarter. Penn Hills 20, North Hills 7. Split backs behind Mike Glazer. Again, Rebholz in motion again. Arrington follows Rebholz on the right side. Horse tackled out of bounds near the 45 or near the 40-yard line.
Chichilla on the horse tackle. And that's Arrington's, give him 6, and that's the first time he's seen more than 3 yards since he had the big run for the touchdown.
It was near the 45. Second down and 4. It's the 9th meeting between these two teams in the last decade. Penn Hills has won 3, North Hills has won 4, and they've tied once. The visiting team has won the last 2 meetings. 2 years ago here at Andrew J. Uhas, North Hills on their way to a state championship won in front of a huge crowd. They were rated number 1 and 2 at the time. Miscommunication in the backfield. Glazer has to take a loss. Looked to hand off, nobody was there, looked up again, and there was Mike White and company staring him in the face. One of the biggest crowds ever here at Penn Hills, as both Penn Hills and North Hills came in 1 and 2. North Hills was able to pull out the victory. Then last year, big win for Neil Gordon's squad. After coming off a tough loss at home to Butler, they went up to North Hills, a rare home loss for Jack McCurry's team. Special teams had a big role in that game, did they not, Bob?
Yes, they did, and also turnovers.
Glazer rolls out, wants to throw, does, caught by Arrington. He has a first down over midfield into Penn Hills territory. Arrington came back to help out. Mike Glazer makes the reception and gets the first down. In most games, LeVar Arrington is going to look like a man out there, but when you see some of the he-men on the Penn Hills defense, Arrington looks like he fits in nicely.
Well, he hasn't been able to find room running the ball except for the big touchdown run. Personal foul against Penn Hills, so they'll tack it on. That's the indication on the penalty. Didn't really see a flag, but I'm saying, why not try to get the ball to your best player and your best athlete any way you can? And that's the second pass they've completed in a row, and the second time to Arrington. So
Personal
tack on 15 yards also.
came on the tackle of Arrington down near the Penn Hills sidelines, and Arrington just looks like he's beat up. He will come out of the game again. The big guns for Penn Hills defensively have made Arrington pay each and every time he has touched the ball.
After he fumbled after the touchdown run, it wasn't hurt on that play, but the very next carry he got after that, he stopped for a yard loss. It was that play that he got up limping. Matter of fact, he left the field.
Glazer handoff to Tom Martin. Quick pop over the left side. Over the 25-yard line, down to the 22. Nice gain of about 8 from Martin. And it'll be 2nd and 2 as North Hills doing a nice job in this, putting this drive together.
Arrington back in the ball game.
.5:43 remaining. Third quarter, Penn Hills 20, North Hills 7. Glazer, I formation behind him. Arrington and Wilkerson again. Movement in the offensive line and in the backfield by Jason Wilkerson. So they will move the North Hills Indians back 5. It'll now be 2nd and 8. And that'll drive a coach batty. They get a good gain on first down. And you're pushed back 5.
So that negates you picked up 8, as you said, 7 or 8. And it's really just like a 2-yard gain when you commit a penalty. And a second and short is a great play for a coach, because if you want to try to open something up and it fails and it's an incomplete pass or a no gainer, you still have 3rd and short. That's the kind of down that coaches love to have. That penalty, of course, took it away from North Hills.
Glazer pitch to Arrington, right side. Arrington follows his blocks nicely and gets back to close to the line of scrimmage before the penalty, down to the 22-yard line. It'll be 3rd and about 2. Late in the first half, Jack McCurry had his team run the no-huddle offense. They moved the ball, but the drive stalled in Penn Hills, deep in Penn Hills territory. Now they're going back to the conventional huddle offense. Rebholz in motion, left to right. Handoff, Wilkerson, right side, shooting for the sticks. Can he get there? No, he was held up, still in bounds. He was held up by a pair of Penn Hills Indians and then blasted.
Apologies to Damien.
This year there are a lot of teams in Quad A with great talent. Penn Hills, Woodland Hills, Seneca Valley.
Germany's out of the game anyway, flexing his leg. Lots of talent this year. Whereas last year, you knew coming in McKeesport would be one of the top teams.
2 men in motion. That's a no-no. North Hills tries to call time before a flag is thrown.
Did they do it?
No. Or did they?
Yes, they did.
Yep. 2 men were in motion, which is illegal, and quickly, Mike Glaser.
The ball has to be snapped, though. I believe that's not a dead ball penalty, like a procedure. That's a motion penalty.
Yeah. Alertly called timeout, so good job. Costs his team perhaps a precious timeout, but it saves them an even more precious 5 yards as they are lining up for a 4th and 3, a very important play. So good job by the junior quarterback, Mike Glaser for North Hills. Also Upper St. Clair, North Allegheny on that list of talented teams, but I think what it's going to come down to is, again, the team that stays the healthiest, and that was a big part of McKeesport's success last year. You can have great talent, but that talent's got to be in the field.
The team, if we're going to talk about Butler, who's 0-1 after last week's loss, they returned every starter from last year, or at least guys who started at the end of the season did return. And team Seneca Valley, like we're going to see next week, there's a team with 26 seniors returning, so they're going to have depth. Penn Hills showing its depth and its innovativeness. Is that a word? No. It's ingenuity. How about that word? By putting Ron Graham in the backfield, and that adds more depth. Yep. With we're talking about Dwayne Thompson missing tonight's game with a knee injury.
Gives opponents something to think about. Pitch to Arrington on the 4th and 3. He will get the first down, a lot of it on his own, as he ran into Graham and also Justin Cole, but pretty much pushed them back down to the 18-yard line. And it'll be 1st and 10 for North Hills as the drive continues, and the North Hills continue to have success on 4th down.
And Graham, the outstanding junior for Penn Hills, brings down the outstanding junior Arrington for North Hills. But you have to give, Glasser credit. If he did not call a timeout, it would have been for mute. It would have been 4th and 8. So it works out right now to North Hills' advantage, and we have an official timeout.
You talked about Butler. A lot of expectations for them this year, and of course this tough North Hills team, perhaps the toughest team of the Quad North triumvirate Penn Hills will face before their conference opener against Plum in 2 weeks is coming up on the road next week. Terry George in his final year at Seneca Valley, and a lot of teams, the consensus is North Allegheny is the team to beat in the Quad North, but right behind them, perhaps better than Butler and North Hills, is Seneca Valley.
Ron Graham has to come out with a helmet problem. And you talk about the Quad East is always tough. And Penn Hills plays an excellent non-conference schedule that prepares them for those wars.
Arrington dive right side, gets 2, lost his balance upon the handoff from Mike Glaser.
And a lot of people talking about Penn Hills and maybe Woodland Hills as the cream of the crop this year in the Quad East. And it was the Woodland Hills game last year that ended up haunting Penn Hills.
Tell you what, team to watch, I think, in the Quad East this year. 2 teams. Of course, John Fischetti's Central Catholic Vikings will be tough to beat. And keep your eye on the Plum Mustangs. Penn Hills goes to Plum in 2 weeks for the section opener. And Plum has a lot of good players back from last year's team.
At Plum, and it's always a heated rivalry as the 2 school districts right next to one another.
Arrington on the soft pitch left side. One of the Penn Hills players had his jersey, but that's not going to stop LeVar Arrington as he goes over the 10, or down over the 10 to the 8-yard line. Was that Jeremy George?
That was Jeremy George who did have the jersey.
That's all George could get. You got to try to give him credit, but that's not going to bring.
He had him at about the 14-yard line, and he still had his jersey even longer. But Arrington's strength was able to stay on his feet, and he dragged George and obviously stretching the shirt down to about the 8-yard line. And
with the exception of the second play of the game, we are now starting to see what makes LeVar Arrington so special in this drive right here. 1:47 remaining in the quarter. Mike Glaser, handoff LeVar Arrington, this time right side, and this time nowhere as he's brought down by DeMond Gibson.
Talk about Raves, DeMond Gibson has him, and great tackle. He was dominant for a few series defensively in the first half. knife through, and for a man at 6'4" and 315, Gibson has outstanding quickness and agility. Showed it there, grabbed hold of Arrington's left leg and would not let go and dropped him for a 2-yard loss. He has a lot of colleges drooling, especially locally, the one with 2 T's at the end.
Rollout by Mike Glazer. His pass intended for Chentis Pettigrew. Incomplete near the right side of the end zone. Near the pylon, if you will, with exactly 1 minute remaining in the third quarter.
Now they've taken 8 minutes and 24 seconds, has North Hills on this drive. It started at their own 24-yard line after the punt by Zakia. This is play number 15.
Ends with 2 T's.
Has a P and I in front of it.
Robert Morris. No. Glazer again rolls, this time right side. Stops. Has some time. He's running out of time, and he is knocked down.
That's got to be a flag.
He was just trying to get rid of the ball with Michael White draped all over him, and just sort of did get rid of it as it popped in the air. The referee hesitated before calling it
turned around and saw
incomplete.
Brad Schaefer over there, and I don't know if he was that close to the football. He got close to it after it was on the ground, so you might want to give him credit, but he was not close to it when it came out of Glazer's hand.
He rolled right. His original receiver, Pettigrew, was covered nicely in the end zone, so then he tried to come back left, and that's when time elapsed. The sands of times caved in on Mike Glazer. So another 4th down for North Hills. This time they want the 6. They do not go for the long field goal.
They can't get a first down either.
Glazer. Give to Pettigrew. Right side, he is smashed. No full in Penn Hills that time. Devon Murrow was there.
Jeremy George.
And also Mike White.
And so they stop.
Double fake up the middle, and the give was to
Pettigrew.
receiver, Chentis Pettigrew, coming from left to right. But again, Penn Hills was not fooled on the call. Frustrating for North Hills. A nice drive against a tough defense, and you come up empty.
16 plays, and they go 8 minutes and 40 seconds. They can only get as far as actually the 8, and they went backwards 2 yards before they turned it over on downs.
So Len Gilmer takes over, and he hands off to Vic Strader, breaks a tackle, tries to break another tackle over the 20 to the 22. Holding on for dear life for North Hills, Mike Glazer, the quarterback.
Gain of 12 for Victor Strader. He now has 13 carries and 123 yards on the evening.
Man.
3 chapters we have completed tonight, the home opener for Penn Hills, and they continue to lead North Hills 20-7. We'll take a break. You're watching Penn Hills Indians football on Unreal Productions.
Fourth quarter about to begin from Penn Hills High School. The Indians with the ball at their own 20-yard line. 1st and 10, and there goes Victor Strader. Breaks off the right side. Strader could go. He's over midfield to the 40, 35, and knocked out of bounds. Victor Strader ran into a pile up the middle, bounced off, took off right side, and he is gone for a run of 54 yards, 45 yards.
You're a little dyslexic on that, but his big gainer, and he's having a night. That'll give him 168 on 14 carries. That's a nice piece of work.
He gets a much-deserved break on the Penn Hills bench. Gilmer, I formation, hands second man through. It's Ron Graham again. With Dwayne Thompson sidelined with a knee injury, Ron Graham, the tight end, has seen a lot of action in the backfield. We'll take time to smile down on the cheerleaders. They have done a nice job here in front of a nice crowd. Opening night. Home opener, I should say, for Penn
Gramps,
Hills.
these players got to be eating more bananas, you're saying. They need that,
potassium.
they need that potassium.
It was supposed to be chilly and rainy tonight. The rain's held off.
How about today? It was beautiful.
And it's not really chilly.
We can't catch a break. We need rain. We can't get it. We don't need it. We get it.
And I talk about the weather and a breeze blows our papers away. Third man through, it is Victor Strader. The full house backfield. Strader, not much. It'll be 3rd and long. Might have even lost a yard. 3rd and 9 for Penn Hills coming up. The clock is their ally as they are up by 13.
And with North Hills taking 8 minutes and 40 seconds off the clock, that became a disadvantage. And if they were able to score, it would have been a big advantage. But since they came away with no points, obviously, you've got to give the Penn Hills defense credit. All their tongues had to be hanging.
Gilmer handoff Strader. Oh, he's having a heck of a night as he breaks through a hole down to the 20-yard line. Big hole open up to the right side, and Strader, like a bullet, shot through, and he picks up the first down.
179 and counting for Victor Strader. And Victor, only a junior.
Huh.
So
Hey,
there's a lot of talent in the junior ranks.
You look at this Penn Hills roster, and there is a lot of underclassmen on this squad that play pivotal roles. Left side, Victor Strader again dancing for a couple of yards. LeVar Arrington at the bottom of the pack for North Hills, along with Tom Shaughnessy.
And we talk about Strader, that'll give him 180. You have to give credit to we talked about the offensive line, and Penn Hills has opened up some nice holes. Mike White and Damon Gibson are the guards, Jared Smith in the center, Corey Connors, and Kevin McCoy, who left with a little bit of a back injury and was replaced by Karavlin. They're doing a nice job.
Gilmer fake to Graham, give to Strader over the right side, fake to Livingston, I should say, and now Livingston holding his right leg.
Hills.
3rd and 6 for the Indians. Give the big Ron Graham over the middle. Had to get to the 10 for a first down. He's short. It's going to be 4th and about 2. Maybe they're feigning cramps to get those free drinks that the trainers bring out.
They get some TV time also. That was a nice shot of Hoggy Livingston there. Sure he'll have modeling in his future. And there's Jeremy George, one of the Indians with a cramp, down on the sidelines running. There are several Indians who are still trying to stretch those legs.
It is 4th and 3. Neil Gordon will go for it. Give to Graham. He will get the first down. Barely got the football as Gilmore was crushed as he was handing off to Graham, the second man through. But Graham did a nice job holding onto the ball, busting up the middle over the 10. It will be 1st and goal for Penn Hills as they try to put the final nail in the North Hills coffin. With less than 8 minutes remaining on the turning clock, Penn Hills leading 20-7.
And Gilmer comes in from the sideline. Mike White checks in with him, and Corey Connors comes out. We've been impressed with Corey Connors the first 2 weeks. He's done a nice job, and you talk about size there, 6'2", 244 as a senior. That's another, some good size. Penn Hills with great size on the lines.
Gilmore hand to Strader. Arcs over backwards trying to get extra yardage. And got it down close to the 6. LeVar Arrington on the second play from scrimmage, a 69-yard touchdown run. North Hills had an early lead. After a LeVar Arrington fumble, Ron Graham punched in his first touchdown of the year, a 2-yard run. Victor Strader broke open a 40-yard run late in the first quarter to make it 14-7, and then Graham an 11-yard touchdown run early second quarter.
I look for that play again here off of left tackle.
Pitch out it is Strader. Eludes one would-be tackler, and then is swarmed by a whole mess of North Hills Indians. He got around Jason Hobbs originally, but then he had about 5 or 6 white jerseys waiting for him.
It wasn't the same type of play, a pitch out over left tackle, but this time to Strader instead of Graham, and North Hills a nice job of shutting it down for a loss of 2. 3rd and goal now for Penn Hills, and ball just outside the North Hills 10-yard line.
Again, I think Neil Gordon would love to punch it in and really put this one away, but even if the ball is turned over on downs eventually, you're looking at probably less than 5 minutes North Hills will have to work with to score twice and drive the ball at least 90 yards.
Timeout Penn Hills. This has been the longest third quarter, the fourth quarter, since we got into the fourth quarter.
It's so long, it's now the fourth
We've
quarter.
had cramps and timeouts and stoppages. And
I don't think that's a timeout Neil Gordon wanted. Do you
Penn
think?
Hills, not at all. Absolutely not. You want to keep the momentum going. Even if you take more time off and maybe hit a field goal attempt and you can't get any points, you leave North Hills with a long drive, and they still need to score twice to take the leads. And they've showed trouble scoring, aside from the 69-yard run. The 2 times that they got down close, they've turned the ball over on downs deep inside Penn Hills territory, and they muffed a snap on a field goal attempt. The holder, Matt O'Keefe, got dropped at about his own 20-yard line. They were setting up for a 30-yard field goal attempt. And that time of the game, it would have made it 20-10.
I'm going to put you on the spot. By the time this game is aired, obviously, the results of tonight's North Allegheny Upper St. Clair game will be known. We don't know now, so who do you like?
Tough question. See, you gave me a much tougher one.
You know, I'm known for asking those hard-line questions.
I like the Cats. How's that for weaseling out? Panthers and Tigers. Okay, Panthers.
Gilmer, second man through Strader, leapfrogged one defender and pulls it down close to the 5-yard line, where it'll be 4th and goal.
Only because I believe Justin Ross, I think his name is out for North Allegheny.
No,
Their
it's,
leading rusher. Am I getting the name wrong?
Yeah.
There comes the key on for a field goal. From about the 5, so you're looking at about maybe a 23-yarder, depending on where he puts the tee down. That's where it's going to be. He misfired on a 27-yarder last week against Butler, so Dave Zakia is 0 of 1 this year in field goal attempts.
23-yard field goal by Zakia is up, and it is good. 3 more points on the board go up for Penn Hills. 5:34 remaining, fourth quarter. It's now Penn Hills 23 and North Hills 7. And the North Allegheny back who is out tonight is Mike Mancuso.
Mike Mancuso, yes.
Just hit me.
He's their leading rusher, and I think that would give an advantage to an Upper St. Clair team in that game. But we'll see. Tuesday night, you'll know. Tuesday night also, you'll know, although things are looking good here with a 23-7 lead now for the Indians. Wednesday and Thursday. 6:45 airtime with the coaches show.
The outspoken one, Neil Gordon.
Penn Hills taking 7 minutes and 10 seconds off the clock after North Hills drive consumed 8 minutes and 40 seconds. 28 plays run between both squads, 29 actually. And Penn Hills goes 13 plays and they drive to the 5 from their own 10. So that's an impressive drive.
Talk about voices for broadcasting. How about the combination of Neil Gordon and Bill Lynn?
Good voices and very knowledgeable men.
Not that we were talking about voices for broadcasting. LeVar Arrington gets the kickoff at the 20, over the 30. Trying to go left side, has about 5 Penn Hills Indians on him. Finally, he is wrestled to the ground at the 35-yard line. And he will sleep well tonight.
And here comes the hurry up, and what can they do? North Hills was effective with it. And they got to try to get points in a hurry.
Glazer.
Scott Davis made the tackle on that kick.
They need 2 scores and 2 two-point conversions in just over 5 minutes. Glazer, pitch out to Tom Martin. Martin on the right side follows his block nicely. And the blocks end where he is brought down at the 38-yard line.
Almost too nicely, ran right up the back side of his lineman.
Gain of about 2, maybe 3.
there's a flag now. 2 scores way in the defensive backfield, the flag is. But 2 scores and 2 two-point conversions just to tie.
Yes.
At 23, and there's 5:09.
Illegal participation. What, a cheerleader go out there?
That's against Penn Hills.
Too many men?
Most likely too many men. That's a first down. And again, though, and I don't want to jinx Penn Hills should they get the ball back, second straight game with no turnovers so far, but a lot of penalties against Penn Hills tonight.
That's one thing Coach Gordon, when he sees the film, will not be happy about.
7 for 65 yards.
Some silly penalties, too. Glazer back to pass hit as he throws and ends up throwing it into the turf. Right there for Penn Hills was Devon Burrow.
And Morrell's played a good game. He's made a lot of nice tackles, and with the leg cramp problems that Penn Hills is having, they've been having to shuffle people in and out. And with Thompson not playing, also Morrell has had to play some defensive back, and he's done a nice job.
Mike Glazer, junior southpaw quarterback, pitch to LeVar Arrington. Over the left side, Arrington sort of lunges forward, and when he lunges, that's about 3 additional yards. The deep pitches, I don't understand in this situation. You're running the hurry up. I don't understand the deep pitches.
Not a deep pitch. You want to try a quick toss and a sweep if you're not going to throw the football.
Well, the first run by Martin especially, that deep pitch.
Correct. Well, you pitch to Arrington, and anything can happen,
Yeah.
obviously. But you're right. You make a good point. Those plays take entirely too long to develop.
Arrington hobbles off again. Glazer, first man through.
It's Wilkerson. We haven't seen him run in a while.
That was Martin.
Was it Martin? So Wilkerson hasn't played in a while.
He's out there, just hasn't carried the ball. And now it's 4th and 7, and pretty much the game right here for North Hills. Glazer again on the hurry-up offense. Split backs. Glazer goes back to pass. Looks, flutters it out, and it is dropped. One of the Penn Hills Indians went for the pick, and he missed it. Brad Schaefer had it right in his hands for a North Hills first down, and he dropped the ball. He's got to be the sickest man in this stadium.
It was Jeremy George who, you got to make the decision. Either A, you got to play the man or the ball. He went for the ball. It was too tall. And luckily, Schaefer, the tight end, could not come up with it.
In this situation, 4th quarter, not much time left. Do you think the smarter play is to sit back? If he catches it, then make sure you bring him down?
Absolutely. And I think that he might have been short of the first down. He'd been close to it, but that's the safer play. Although you do have, as we said, a 16-point lead,
Yeah.
but the safer play is to sit back. But you can't help it. If he picks that off, he's gone, obviously, with all that green.
So Penn Hills takes over now. They're just trying to kill some time. And the handoff doesn't get much. The Penn Hills Indians, Eric Hayden. Or Eric Haddon.
It's Eric Haddon, yeah. He carried once last week. And I'm sure you'll see this now. You probably won't see, aside from maybe Gilmer, who will probably eventually come out. Penn Hills starters coming out, and they get a well-deserved round of applause.
GIBSON,
Offensive linemen.
McCoy, Fitzpatrick, White, they all come out. And they done good, if you will. Len Gilmer directs the backfield. And now he's going to roll right, quarterback keep, and Gilmer sandwich. And on the tackle, Tom Shacknessy. And also Jason Wetzel for North Hills.
Eric Longo, one of the offensive linemen in the game for Penn Hills. I believe Jared Smith has stayed in the game. Center, you see Johnny Chinchilla and B.J. DiNatale has returned from his cramping problem. Which Haddon in the backfield. Gilmer stays in a quarterback. Jeremy George is getting some PT on offense. Also in on the offensive line, Sean Buterbaugh.
Haddon, not much room on the left side, trying to run behind Rashad Reed. It'll be 4th down as the clock continues to wind down. 2:35 remaining. Big Red up by 16.
Dave Zakia almost forgetting his helmet as he comes on to punt, and he's done a nice job kicking the ball tonight and probably iced the cake with his 24-yard field goal.
Back deep for North Hills, John Getz. Zakia, end over end, Getz never touched the ball, at least according to him, at the 30, and bounces out of bounds at the 23. Came up on it and really misjudged where it would fall. Tried to hit the brakes. Doesn't matter whether he touched it or not, as it went out of bounds at the 23. That's where North Hills will take over again, probably with the hurry-up offense. LeVar Arrington went for the block on that punt. He slowly walks off the field. His evening is probably over. So Mike Glazer calls the signals and gives off to Tom Martin, and actually both Glazer and Martin were tackled in the backfield by DeMond Gibson.
Also,
he didn't care who had the ball, they were both going down.
Also, Morell in there, Devin Morell, and again, we have a flag down. It'll be a loss of 3. We'll see what the call is.
It looks like a personal foul coming up against Penn Hills.
I figured that. Again, adding to the penalty totals now. 8 penalties and 80 yards.
Gibson and White come out. They call it a night. Well, this is the kind of stuff where it really doesn't matter now, but you get into a tight game, and this stuff will kill you.
You're absolutely right.
Again, Martin and Wilkerson in the backfield. Pitch to Wilkerson. Left side, Wilkerson. Oh, and he is hit hard by Garrett Livingston and dropped at the 35-yard line. Minimal gain, if any. Again, the hurry-up offense for North Hills.
There's a penalty.
Pitch to Martin, flag is down. Martin is hit, spins off, and dives forward for a couple yards. It was Graham who hit him initially, almost decapitated him.
It was Brad Tazarchek who gave everything he's got to sprint 45 yards to the sideline, didn't make it, so Penn Hills will be penalized for too many men.
Was he not the quarterback at the famed Miracle of the Meadowlands?
That was Joe Pazarchik.
Oh, okay.
This is Brad Tazarchik. Of course, this result much less disastrous than the Joe Pazarchik result. North Hills doesn't know.
I tell you what, for as successful as they've been, there have been times when Penn Hills has played confused. Do you get that feeling?
Indeed, and it shows obviously in the amount of penalties and yardage. But the big stat, they have yet to turn the ball over.
I mean,
in 2 games.
Here's the screen pass developing almost as well as it usually develops for the black and gold. The pass incomplete. As the throw to Brad Schaefer was missed and probably wouldn't have amounted to much except a big loss for North Hills. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Again, the hurry up despite the fact the clock is stopped with the incompletion.
Scott Caravlin got some pressure on. 2nd and 3, it is not 9. They forgot to mark the penalty yardage.
Glazer, handoff. Martin has a big hole as he dives into Penn Hills territory over the 50 down to the 47-yard line. And what's that say about Penn Hills' performance when they have at times looked very confused and they're still going to beat a quality opponent like North Hills going away?
It says they got some talent and they're going to win this game handily.
Glazer pitch to Wilkerson, left side. Wilkerson has some room. Holding on to the ball is tackled short of a 1st down to the 40-yard line. Clock continues to tick now with 40 seconds remaining. Glazer again lines them up quickly. Give to nobody. Glazer, broken play, running for his life. Now he throws it away. I think that may have been intended to be handed off to Tom Martin, but never materialized.
Only 25 ticks left, and Glazer's had a bunch of problems trying to throw the ball tonight. He has completed 4 passes. He completed his first 2 actually in the 2nd half. But he's over his next 7.
Martin breaks a hole up the middle and is horse-collared and tackled by Brad Tazarchik. With 19 seconds remaining, and now Jack McCurry famous for calling late game timeouts. Ask George Novak. Calls one here. His team down 23 to 7, wanting to punch one in or come close here in the final seconds. North Hills record will even out at 1-1, while Penn Hills will remain in the top three, probably moving up behind either Upper St. Clair or North Allegheny in the polls, and will remain undefeated as they go to Seneca Valley. Again, it's going to be a very tough contest for Neil Gordon's squad. And then they open, I believe, on the road in Plum.
They are at Plum.
Next home game, we just heard Don Ireland say, Section 2 game, a big one. The Keysport comes to Penn Hills. 3 weeks. So you and Mr. Navari are going to be hitting the road for a while.
That is, and they have 2 home games in a row. McKeesport and
Saturday afternoon game.
Woodland Hills.
19 seconds remaining. Mike Laser goes back to pass. Laser fires the ball. It's caught by LeVar Arrington. First down inside the 20. Perhaps the prettiest pass play of the night for North Hills. Laser rolled left and hit Arrington in stride as he was knocked out of bounds around the 17-yard line. 12 seconds remaining. So indeed, Jack McCurry went to put some points on the board as he had Arrington back in the game.
Why?
Well, I was going to say whether they're good or not.
Validity, and you hope that he
At times we have to
doesn't
tuck
get hurt.
at times we have to tuck our egos away. Glazer this time will roll right, gets away from one man. He has room to run, but instead he'll throw it to the man standing on the track. And he didn't catch it either.
At least we can tuck our egos away.
5 seconds remaining, so this should be the final play of the game. So 5 seconds remaining. Penn Hills trying to keep that LeVar Arrington run in the first quarter, the only score that they've given up all year so far. Arrington motion. Back goes Glazer, probably looking for big number 9. Throws it to nobody at the 5-yard line. And the second team, Penn Hills defense, keeps North Hills off the board late. And the Indians of Penn Hills, now their record is 2-0 against the top Quad North.
Final score, the Penn Hills Indians improved to 2-0. They defeat the North Hills Indians in their home opener this year, 23-7. Penn Hills, as I said, 2-0. North Hills drops to 1-1. We'll be back with some post-game comments. But victorious Penn Hills prevails tonight, and you have been watching Penn Hills Indians football on Unreal Productions. Welcome back to Andrew Uhas Stadium, and a victorious stadium tonight as the Penn Hills home opener, non-conference style, as a victory 23-7 over the North Hills Indians. And Dawn, an impressive night. They come into the game with a question mark. Their leading rusher from week 1, Dwayne Thompson, out with a knee injury, but they answered the bell quite nicely.
They did. They showed that this is not only a talented team, but a team with great depth. Of course, they moved the talented tight end Ron Graham into the backfield, a new look that upcoming Indian opponents are going to have to practice for or against, even if Thompson does come back. He scored 2 touchdowns, and I think overall, except for the first play, the second play of the game, LeVar Arrington racing 69 yards up the gut for North Hills' only touchdown. Once again, the defense did a tremendous job.
And defensively, they were able to shut them down. You mentioned the 69-yard run. A couple drives North Hills had, especially went to the no-huddle game. Penn Hills some trouble, but kind of a bend but don't break defense tonight for the Indians.
Exactly. North Hills got no closer than, I think, the 15-yard line of Penn Hills. And I think most defenses, most really good defenses, will have that. I mean, no defense is going to continually shut you down, especially when you are a good team like North Hills. And, you know, they gave North Hills their yardage on a couple of drives, but again, the Indians came away without any points, the North Hills Indians, and that's the key.
Again, the interior line play great for Penn Hills. Devon Gibson, Mike White, Corey Connors, Jared Smith, Kevin McCoy, a great job on both sides of the football.
Great job indeed. I mean, that's where Penn Hills' strength is their strength in the offensive and defensive line, and they made Victor Strader's job very easy. Victor Strader had a tremendous night, did a lot of great things on his own, but again, he was running through some gaping holes thanks to his offensive line.
Not an easy task next week. Their final non-conference tune-up before Quad East play. They have to take a road trip out to face the Seneca Valley Raiders.
Neil Gordon will be happy with the results of tonight's game, and a lot of good things did happen, but again, there were a lot of mistakes, penalties especially. They stayed away from turnovers. They did have some trouble with penalties, a lot of lackadaisical penalties too, and you know, too many men and a lot of motion and that sort of thing. Neil Gordon will not be happy with when he looks back at the film. Seneca Valley, probably the toughest team Penn Hills will face in their non-conference schedule, and on the road does not make it easy. The Raiders are out to prove something because they're a team in the Quad A that doesn't get a lot of talk, a lot of recognition, like an Upper St. Clair, a Penn Hills, or a North Allegheny. So Seneca Valley will definitely have a chip on their shoulder when Penn Hills goes to visit them next week.
Well, Don, great to have you on board tonight filling in for Billy. You did a great job. Always great to get back working with you.
I feel like Manny Mota, the pinch hitter extraordinaire. Wish Bill again good luck, and hope I can help out down the road.
And filling in for Bill Navari, our next broadcast will be from Seneca Valley as the Penn Hills Indians, now 2-0, travel to Seneca Valley to take on the Raiders. We'll have that for you normal time here on Channel 13. I'd like to thank our producer tonight, Kevin Burke, and our on-field camera operator, Patty Hetch. And for my broadcast partner tonight, Don Rebel. This is Bob Wortwith saying good night, everyone. Thanks for watching.